Welcome to today's show. My name is Jesse Malin, and I help you make your best relationship. Today's show is all about unresolved past hurts, right? The pain that we pick up throughout our lives, throughout our relationship that have not been resolved. And what do I mean exactly? I mean, say your partner or your spouse did something to hurt you, and say that it hurt at a level 100, right? Just for easy sake, level 100, and they tried to fix that. They tried to make it up to you, and say they maybe their efforts were they paid you back 65% out of the 100% of harm they'd done, but you accepted it. You accepted that, and you moved on in life. Well, that other 35%, that still bothers you, and oftentimes over the long haul, that little bother just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it starts consuming you, and you start finding all sorts of little things that annoy you about your partner, and that causes a wedge. And you can never actually attain that oneness that is meant to be had in a relationship because you have a wedge that's stopping you from being together. And this is what I mean when we talk about unresolved hurts. What are things that have happened in your life, in your relationship, that have not been resolved? And how is this affecting you today? Really think about that. How is it affecting you today? How is it affecting your relationship? Are you holding yourself back? Are you holding your partner back? Are you not allowing that forgiveness and that healing, and that trust to ensue? Today's show is all about ways to resolve past hurts. And you can see right here I have this $1 million bill on. This isn't the answer. It's covering up the real answers that are there, because the answers behind this paper of $1 million are going to be worth more to you than $1 million itself. You can always get more money, but you can never get more time. Remember that. You can always get more money, but you can never get more time. So money is not going to be as important as your experience in life, because as time is the universal currency, it's the only thing you can never get back. And so let's talk about those things. 4 ways that you can resolve past hurts. What are those 4 ways? Number 1. The first thing that you can do to resolve past conflicts, past things that have caused you pain or hurt, is to do shadow work. We've talked about shadow work. I'll list up here a card. We have a whole series on doing shadow work, but just for your information, what is shadow work? That is where you go to your past and you acknowledge what hurt you in your past. You acknowledge that, you recognize that, and you allow yourself to revisit that moment, feel that hurt and pain, and then allow yourself to love on yourself. Some people, they visualize it as them talking to their younger self. This could have been yesterday, this could have been 20 years ago. But you go and you visit this person, and you give them validation, you give them the love that they needed to hear at the time that they were hurt, and to really strengthen yourself. And you do that yourself so you can start to find root in yourself, because a lot of reasons we get hurt is because we are seeking for validation from outside sources. I shared how Alan Watts in my episode on what exactly is love. Alan Watts says, love is madness, because that is us surrendering ourselves to another person. And that's crazy, right? But he says madness, and in madness lies that sanity, because we all seek love. Well, sometimes in our surrendering ourselves to our partner, right, this person we trust, sometimes we not only surrender in our own desires, and we just try to love and just give and serve and do all those nice things for them. Sometimes in addition to that, we hand over our validation for our worth. We say, okay, whatever you do is going to validate me or it's going to invalidate me, and I'm either going to feel loved or I'm going to feel hurt. And that's not a healthy choice to make. The healthy choice is to find that root in yourself, to validate yourself, to find value in yourself, and not depend on an outside source, whatever that is. And sometimes that's really hard to do, but the best way to do that is through shadow work. That's the best way. So now on to number 2. This is getting in touch with your emotions. That is so important. In addition to shadow work, in addition to finding value in yourself, validating yourself and not seeking that validation from outside sources, getting in touch with your emotions. This is super powerful. And why is that powerful? Because one, you are going to realize, you'll become aware of what's hurting you. Exactly what's hurting you. Is it an action your partner does? Maybe they've done this your whole relationship, and you've just kind of allowed that, and those lines, those boundaries have slipped and slipped and slipped, and they start walking over you more than you like, but maybe they don't even know they're walking all over you. Or maybe you've allowed certain treatments, certain ways that your spouse or partner treats you that aren't okay, that are harmful or hurtful to yourself. And when you get in touch with your emotions, you become aware of that. Allow yourself to cry. Don't shove it away. Don't hide it. Don't suppress it, right? Allow yourself to feel this pain, and then become aware of what's causing that pain. Because once we're aware, so really quickly, let me tell you that getting in touch with your emotions are there to warn you when you are not in alignment with your purposes or your goals, right? Our emotions are important. They're warning indicators for us to listen to and learn and grow with. And so that's important. Getting in touch with them is going to help you realize when you need to make a change. So if some red flags are going, pay attention to them. That's why we have them. And this leads us right into step number 3. And that is learning to communicate with your partner. Now, there is a bunch of skill that can go into learning how to communicate well with your partner. It helps to understand that maybe the way you think is not the way that they think. Your brain is wired differently than the way their brain is wired. That type of stuff. But communicating, having that open communication with your partner is so important. And you might think, okay, well, we've been together for X amount of years and this has happened for this entire time. How am I going to share with them what they're doing that's bothering me, or what's hurt me from the past? How am I going to get that fixed? And there's a few things you can do. First off, if you're doing the shadow work and gaining validation in yourself, then you're going to talk to them. That's the first thing. You're going to talk to them about how you feel, right? And then you can ask them questions to help them to mend that, or to help them to change. You talk about your love. Obviously go in lovingly. Don't go in with, hatred and a desire to manipulate them into giving you what you want. You go in talking to them and you say, hey, I love you and you love me, right? Kind of get that, you're on the same page there. Like, I am still struggling with this issue. And then you explain that, you tell them that, and you let them know how you feel, right? Communicate that with them, and then discuss together. If you get the response that your spouse loves you back, and then you're on the same page, then you are exactly ready to say, hey, what can we do to make things better from here on out? How can your spouse fix this? What can you do? What would you like your spouse to do? Things like that, and work on a plan to help you feel better. And that's how it is. Now, if your spouse is coming from a place that is angry, they're not on the same page with you. Yes, they love you, but not wholly, and there's some issues there. Well, then I'll put a little card up here where you can learn and experiment on how to love your spouse into improving themselves without them even knowing it. How to love your spouse and to do things that help you get what you want. And it's not from a place of manipulation, it's from a place of love to help you transform them by transforming yourself to make your relationship better. And you can go visit that video, talk about that specifically. And then this right here, if you're still having struggles, this right here is the ultimate key to helping you get what you want. This leads us to step 4. And step 4 is, if you need, go get outside help. And a lot of people think of this as a last resort. A lot of people think, well, I'm not in that much of a tragedy, or I don't need help. I can take care of myself, right? I'm an adult, those type of things. A lot of people think of that, but visit with a coach or a therapist. That's step 4. Go visit with a coach or therapist. The neat thing about getting outside help is that, one, you should be learning new things. You should learn how to communicate. You should learn how to get in touch with your emotion. You should learn how to visit your past and heal those things, right? If you can't successfully do that on your own, or you would like that outside source to do that. But another great thing about having a coach or going to a therapist is that you will drastically speed up this process. You will save your time. Again, we talked about how time is a universal currency, that you can't get any more time. Once you've spent that amount of time, it's gone forever, right? This time is the time to do things, to take action in your life. And you can get the results you want to have. You can build the relationship you want to have by getting that outside get that outside help. You know, maybe sometimes a YouTube video is great, or reading a blog or listening to a podcast. Those things are great, but sometimes it really helps to take that extra step and go and get you some outside help. And if your partner doesn't want to do that, that's okay. A lot of success comes from one person in the relationship going and getting that outside professional help, and then results start to happen. And that's huge. So how can you resolve past hurts? Learn to validate yourself, find value in yourself, connect with your emotions, because they tell you when you are not in alignment with your purpose and dreams and goals, right? And learn how to communicate with your spouse and verbalize to your spouse specifically things that you've hurt from the past, and maybe they have hurts that you're not even aware of. Ask them for hurts that they have that you could repair, because here's the magic. When you both come to a consensus that you want to help and love each other and build each other, that's when the magic happens. That's when the power comes. That's when you start to unify as one. And those wedges, they start disappearing. They don't divide you anymore. Then that is when you can become one and really start living a fulfilled, enjoyable, and meaningful life in your relationship. You know, and if you need, go get some outside help. Outside help has almost always been a huge blessing for me, because I have learned things very fast. Learned a lot of my own issues. My spouse has learned some of her issues, and we've bettered ourselves and bettered each other. And that's huge. And that's how you can make the difference. Really quick, just to end this YouTube video, I want to talk about karma. Karma essentially is whatever you send out comes back to you. Usually it comes back with interest, right? The best way to end karma. So actually, if you're having patterns in your life that keep showing up over and over and over, you're living in the same type of situation that's stressful, that produces anxiety for you. These are patterns. This is a cycle of karma in your life. And the best way to end those cycles of those patterns repeating again and again and again is forgiveness. Forgiveness is the best key to your ending the cycle of repetition, because not only do you free yourself up when you forgive, you free up your partner. And when they're free and you're free, then you're both able to grow. But as long as you're holding on to the weights of the past that are binding you down, that is when you get stuck. That is when those repetitious cycles continue to happen again and again in your life, in your relationship. And you have the power to end that. And yes, you're going to have to overcome pride. You're going to have to overcome hurt and hate and anger and all that stuff. And there's ways to do that. Go visit with a coach or a therapist, right? They will have ways specifically so that you can get through those. We offer that here at Make Your Best Relationship. Visit makeyourbestrelationship.com and visit the coaching tab. And realistically, much of life is what we make out of it. You can have what you want to have, but you got to start being proactive. You got to start taking action. You got to start believing, because how you feel is going to dictate how you act, and how you feel and act consistently will create your whole life. And you can change that based upon how you feel. Learn to connect with yourself. Get in touch with your emotions. Learn how to communicate with your partner, and get some outside help if you can't, or if you struggle doing this on your own. And with that, I hope you do make your best relationship. I know that you can do it. Just get proactive with it. And I bid you much success, much love, and adieu. See you guys.